This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on the Watch Spot. Hello, I'm Kamurai, and I talk about things and stuff I've been watching. As usual, or as has been usual, we're going to start talking about Rooster Teeth and move on from there. It just released while I was waiting to go on. Barbara just tweeted it out. They did this really funny little Hansel and Gretel short, or Fable short, that I don't know if it's a thank you or a deal with Pizza Hut, but since Pizza Hut generously sponsored the RTX, there's been a lot of Pizza Hut talk and whatnot, and they did like a Pizza Hut house thing with Hansel and Gretel with Josh Flanagan and Barbara, and then special guest appearance by Meg Turney, if you like that. But definitely really funny. I'm still giggling from it. There's several things you can say about it. Most of them positive. And I still understand the people who don't appreciate Barbara. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so continue with the Rooster Teeth news, not RTX news. Another thing from RTX, it was the RTA. There's some viral video going out that's like He-Man singing a song, essentially. Is it He-Man? I think it's He-Man. I can't remember what the other one is. Oh, Lionel, I think is who I'm thinking of. I think it's He-Man. But Gus is dressed up as He-Man singing, and that's pretty funny too. So, like, always go and check out your RTAs. Really big fan of that. On the spot, this was they're still catching up from RTX. RTX is such a big event that it actively disrupts the schedule. I had no idea what was going on with everything. I still can't find all the RTX videos. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place. It's probably on me. But Game Grumps came on and played with Gavin. Carrie and Miles. On the spot at RTX. Really funny to see him go on. I was really happy to see Game Grumps versus Rooster Teeth, and then they did the thing where they swapped teams in the middle of the game, which there's all this ongoing joke about how little of import like any of the structure is in like. It's fine to me if John's doing it because he's the host. He's the one in charge. Everyone else is supposed to kind of be bending to that will. That's very much how it was on like Whose Line Is It Anyways, under Drew Carey or the previous host who I was really liked, but I can never remember his name. And now I feel like there's a certain disrespect for John ongoing, and respect the Rise Monger. Moving on. Red versus Blue. I caught up on the PSA last week for RTX. I don't know why they did that. Obviously, they showed All or Nothing. I think that's the current one. Yeah, at RTX. Obviously, they showed that so that people there got to see it a week before it came out, and they brought out the PSA to appease everyone else. All or Nothing was definitely the big moment that the other two were leading up to, Harmonia Part 1 and 2. I feel like, and maybe it's because it's been a while since I watched it, that Red vs. Blue always works better in long format. The short format videos are great, but the long format is how you should ingest this content. So I feel like we missed like a big thing. We even start the episode with Church waking up. And there's some interesting things going on with that. I can't wait to see what they do with that, because this is wrapping up quick with the activations of the temples, both the communication and the Purge Tower, and the death of, not Kimball, but Emperor Wussy Pants, whatever his name was, that bravely gave his life. That's where it's at, and it's got to be coming up, and we're seeing some fissuring between Felix and Locust too. I have a feeling that Locust is going to end up taking charge of the men and taking out Felix. I really hope that's what it's at. If it puts a typical Rooster Teeth spin on it, what's actually going to happen is that's going to try to happen, and then Felix is going to have like a holographic clone or something from the alien artifacts, and then kill Locust and get away. And then that's going to be the next story arc, is chasing down Felix. gosh. I can't imagine the soldiers doing well from that. Okay. On to Geek and Sundry. I have very mixed feelings about Geek and Sundry right this second. Not saying that they're bad or in general. Oh, Felicia Day did guest star on the RT podcast this past Monday, so that's a neat little full screen crossover there. But I'm so behind on Critical Role, it's not even funny. Most people would give up, but I'm going to attempt it after I get caught up on Titan's Grave and I start doing some bad summaries for it and Heroes of Awesome, just because it'll be easier to get all that done. And once I'm caught up, I think I'm going to go back and watch an episode or two of Critical Role and do a bad summary or two. At 3 hours a pop, it is quite the beast to handle. I have not watched the latest Tabletop Mice and Mystics because they did another split episode. I would rather they release one long episode or two parts on the same day than make me wait 2 weeks, because fuck you. Like, especially for a game like Mice and Mystics where I don't know anything about it. If it was a game like that I was super excited about, then like Super Dungeon Explorer, then I would probably watch the first part a couple times just to get everything I can out of it. But for those who are current on Critical Role, I will mention this quickly. It looks like in episode 18, we might have a guest spot from Felicia. Cooptitude. These are obviously... Okay. They dressed up... I thought this was pretty good. They dressed up as a clown and did some Connect shit. It doesn't matter what they're playing. They're acting like idiots and having a good time. I actually missed the X-Files one. I'm not a big fan of the X-Files. I don't remember any of the games being that good. They're dressed super seriously, and I know there's going to be a nice juxtaposition there, but I don't care that much. I'm just being honest. I'd hate to waste your time otherwise. Titan's Grave has been coming out. I'm just not current. I feel bad about that one because they have been shorter episodes. They're starting to lengthen. So, like, Heroes of Awesome actually did something similar. As you get in, they start going towards about an hour and a half. But there's so much good content in Heroes of Awesome. I'm hoping that Titan's Grave is as good. You would think better because of the better production quality, but I don't know. I like the Heroes of Awesome so much better. I also like Twilight Chorus awful lot. They have been doing the larger chunks. The latest episodes... Oh, looks like I gotta yell at Brandon. The episode 4 is not on the playlist. Which means I have to go out to the thing to look for it. But I wanted to look at the timestamp because, so they finally got one that was under 2 hours. Normally they've been about 3 so far. But they finally got it down to like 2, and I think that's a much more acceptable chunk. 3 is like the maximum you could possibly go, and having to go back and watch 2 almost back to back, I really appreciate that 2-hour dip. I've got to poke Brandon. I'll do that real quick, just so I remember. Okay, so Twilight Chorus, I'm going to start sharing that playlist link in the description too, so since that's part of it, because obviously youtube.com/theweirdlings, that'll get you to Lovable Varmint. Has been doing Heroes of Awesome. They also have, let's see, in 10 days, supposedly, Dominions of Estland. And I've been seeing some strange activity show up for, like, just dice and talks and things. So there are lots of things coming. Pay attention to that channel if you like board games and you like video games and you like nerdy, geeky stuff. Spot on. If you like comics, you probably already know about Danny, because there's only... there's not only, but there's a few... Comparatively, there's a few people who do comic news and such, and that's one of them. So I actually gotta leave that open so I remember. I've really come to a weird decision. I need to pinch a couple pennies where I can, and I've gone down to 1 disc for Netflix. I just haven't been getting anything interesting in, nothing that's worth talking about. So it's like, whatever. Um, Netflix. Oh, Instant Watch. I got on there. I realized I hadn't watched in a while. There's a bunch of new movies that have struck my attention, fancy, whatever you want to call it. But Wet Hot American Summer, I'm definitely looking forward to. So that is one I definitely want to watch. I put that on my list. That's going to be coming up. I've got something else I wanted to watch too. So we will move forward from that. Hulu. Hulu's been kind of boring lately. There's not much going on. It's just that time of year for Hulu. Please? No? Nope. So, no news there. I'm looking forward to when it becomes much more active, and I have trouble keeping up with it again. CBS, fortunately, has let out a couple shows. Under the Dome, I watched, 3 episodes back-to-back. They partner with Amazon Prime, so you end up watching them there. But, was it Ejecta, Breaking Point, and Plan B? We've come to a lot of, just open declaration. It has been revealed, spoilers if you want, that it is a war on humanity. I don't know why. I have actually a lot of issues with this. I don't know why they fucking do this, where they go, well, humanity's all about free will and fucking each other over and uber capitalism. It's all this weird anti-communist metaphor, and it's fuck off. There's not things wrong with this. What is wrong with this is that they're enslaving. Slavery is the thing that should be the bad thing. But no, they're this society where everyone communicates and worries about the greater good. They're so evil. Fuck. It just... it shows up a lot in a lot of different things. And if you write it poorly, it comes off very much like that. But if you're uber American, then you're capitalism, fuck yeah. You don't realize that means that people get to piss on your head. Because you are not at the top if you are watching these shows. It's just a fact. They hunt people for sport and shit. That's what the rich people do. The people who are on top. I swear to God, it's just statistically likely that people with that much money got to be insane. And there's someone out of them that's they just pay somebody to hurt themselves. It's they just do the brass teapot, but in real life. It's take this hammer, and I'm going to throw 100 at you every time you swing it at your arm hard enough. There's that fucking depressing movie. I can't remember what it's called right now. But they essentially all go out to this secluded mansion for this party, and it's very much Would You Rather. I think that's what it's called. So it's would you rather get shocked or stab your buddy? It's fucked up. Zoo. Zoo's the other thing on CBS I've been keeping track of. I'm not caught up. I thought I was going to be 1 episode away. I'm actually 2. Because I got all confused on where I left off because I fell asleep during one of the episodes. This is such a convoluted thing because they're they hint at the animals becoming smarter, and then they hint at them having telepathy. And this is going to be like Lost, where they just write it to fuck with the audience. Because Lost didn't have a set story arc. It was literally well, what does the audience think? Fuck them. Let's make it whatever they're not talking about. So I think Zoo's going to end up being the same thing, and it's not going to do nearly as well. Because it's a super convoluted premise. It's not great. But it has an interesting enough cast, people doing a good enough job, that I'm actually interested in what's happening with the characters and what they're going to do with the story from an artistic perspective. I would rather they'd gone zombie rabies. What's it? Quarantine. Is that the movie? Yeah, the one that's the American version of Record. I would have liked to seen that on a global scale with animals as the main carrier. That would have been a lot more interesting to me. But instead, of going to the dystopian world, Like, we've got this weird, slow build-up to it, which you never see movies and shows do because it's boring. You cut out that part. You have somebody wake up after the fact. You don't typically go through it step by step. Like, this is the little boy. Like, you start at the beginning, you jump a bunch. Covert Affairs. I did finish this up. Season 5. Season 5 has a lot to say for it. There's a lot to be said for it. 1 through 4 is, I think, a very different show. It's very spy. It's not necessarily a lot of action. It's very much she's using her brain to get information, because that's what that Central Intelligence Agency does. But once she leaves the agency, it becomes this whole other thing. There's lots more gunfights. That grew as she got more experience and got more dangerous missions. She's taken a lot more initiative on her own. There's a lot more visual cues, because I managed to watch a lot of the first 4 seasons while I was doing other things. So I was listening, I'd look over to confirm what's going on. There was a lot of talking for Augie's sake because he's blind. They got rid of that shit in season 5, and there was a lot of visual cues that didn't make sense. And we're back! OBS crashed on me, so I apologize, but I was talking about the visual cues in Season 5 of Covert Affairs, especially since one of the characters is blind. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. There are visual cues that aren't read out. There are several things that are very action-oriented where it's like you're just watching action happen, and that's not interesting to me. I always see action movies as either comedies or dramas that happen to have a lot of action. Action movies are not a proper genre to me, because if it's just action and you're just watching shit explode and people get punched, it's like, there's nothing interesting there. It's like, yeah, I've seen explosions. The Tianjin explosion is far more interesting than any movie explosion I've ever seen. So there's that. I want a good story. That's what I'm there for. You don't tend to get that with action movies. It's why people make fun of them, and there's a whole slew of them from like the 80s that people are like, yeah, it's bad, but it's good because it's bad, right? Right? No, it's not. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying the movie's actually bad. I'm saying that I don't enjoy it. And that's fine. Everything's not for everyone. But Covert Affairs definitely feels like that. But all the way up until the end, the ending didn't make any sense for everything. And I listened to it like 3 or 4 times. And the insinuation, I think, was that she closes her eyes and he leaves. But they could have that story could go anywhere from there. Because what I heard, instead of gone, was gun. Because that's what she says to Augie when there's a gun, because he's blind and you have to read him in on it. So it's like if all the action and the visual cues throughout the whole season where she's not with Augie because she's looking at marrying this other guy become this running joke. And to me, it's a sign of the show not being what it was without them together. That's just me. You are a fluffy kitty. You are. Let's see. Let's move on. So that was that. Oh, I finally figured out how to watch the Jim Gaffigan show. I didn't realize. If you just go to tvland.com, I think it's /show/Gaffigan. Not that. Okay, /shows/ the Jim Gaffigan show. Because they want it to be nice and easy for you to remember, so that you're sure to go there when someone tells you about it. Fucking look up Jim Gaffigan. You'll find his show. Just look with it alongside TV Land. Or if you go to tvland.com, I'm sure it'll be the first thing that pops up. Yeah, really funny. I forgot her name, Anna something. The lady who was on How I Met Your Mother, who played Victoria. Not only was she fantastic in that, she's twice as good on this. She is phenomenal. I didn't even recognize her, to be honest with you. I think she was working out quite a bit between here and there, because there she was a pastry chef, and here she's a single mom, or not a single. Sorry, Jim. Um, she's a mom of five. They upped the number, or maybe that's what it is in real life now. Um, I think she's like pregnant with six or something. Because the jokes that I heard last was that he was father of four, and the joke was gonna be that he was gonna go the extra nine, and go for a fifth. But TV Land has some interesting looking shows. Impastor, The X's. I heard about another period today that has Ricky Lindholm and Christina Hendricks on it. So just for Christina, she's dressed like a maid too. If that does it for you, I've got to check that out. Along with MTV.com's Scream Queens, I think that's what it's called. I definitely want to see what that's about. I'm a big slasher fan because there's real life applicable tactics involved. So if we're just gonna have a series of idiot teens getting slaughtered every week, why not? It can't be as good as Pretty Little Liars, but I'm up to the challenge. If it fails on its face, then so be it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I know MTV has some other shows here, but I can't see anything that makes me want to suggest it. Teen Wolf looks a little interesting. I think they took the idea from the movie and modernized it. Shows. No. Clicking on shows does not show shows. It shows some options for how to view pieces of the shows. So I have no idea how you actually get to individual shows. MTV is not very big on making sense. So there's that. I've got to actually add that to the watch list. For the watch! Ugh, fucking Windows 10. So many stupid issues with this. I don't know why I can't edit my favorites and move it into the folder without going to the goddamn bookmarks manager. Why is it not showing up there? Yeah, Windows 10 is bullshit. Don't upgrade. Give them another month or so to fix all the shit. HBO Now. I have finally quit HBO Now, so Game of Thrones will start out in a week or two. I'm sure. But I haven't got myself to get around to watching True Detective. I watched Lucky Louie. There's not another show besides Silicon Valley, which will run alongside Game of Thrones. There are a couple of movies that are showing up on HBO Now that I'm pretty sure are showing up other places too. Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, Beyond the Realm, I don't know why, maybe it's a pretty girl thing, but that's catching my eye. Godzilla, Birdman. It'd be nice if like the site actually worked, but I can't. Veronica Mars, I probably need to watch that movie. Horrible Bosses 2. There are things that are available. I don't give a shit about Ballers. Sorry, Dwayne. And 2 seasons of True Detective are going to be tough to try to squeeze in before my subscription goes out. But I got a month, so I probably won't do it. I think that's the reality of the situation there. Let's see. I think that wraps us up. I will fight with my browser later, and yeah. So hopefully, if you are along with me this far, I will get these videos probably downloaded and then spliced together and uploaded to YouTube because technical issues. Yay! But until you see me next time, I am Kamurai. Have a nice day.